Hey everyone, my name is Pat Topolinski, and this is Frankie Foreman.
That's right. I thought you were starting it out.
Hey everyone, I'm Pat Topolinski, and this, of course, is Frankie Foreman.
Hey.
What we're going to do today is another one of our videos. We're going to check out one of our old videos, a classic video where we do something. We're going to make some commentary on it because we haven't seen this in a while, and this is a good one. This is where we did a backyard build, is what we call it. We took an engine and literally, instead of doing it in our shop with all of our millions of dollars of machinery and high dollar equipment and parts, we just did that stuff in the parking lot just like you would at home.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. This was actually directly because of comments we got from you guys, the viewers. You guys wanted to see something like this. So like he said, we literally did it in the parking lot with hand tools, and we're going to go through it, talk about some of the behind the scenes stuff, maybe some of the stuff you didn't see, and make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell below so you get notified about more videos like this, and let's get started.
You're watching Power Nation. You know, we hear it all the time. Why don't you leave that big shop
Sunrise
and
in the
build
parking
an engine
lot
like we do at home?
Challenge accepted. Today on Engine Power, it's gonna get hot.
Woo.
And it's definitely gonna get dirty.
You ain't kidding.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely probably the most, I'd say, hand cleaning we've done in a while, because like in our shop we have a jet washer and some nice stuff like that for cleaning equipment. Everything still gets hand cleaned eventually, but we're not usually getting the heavy stuff off by hand. But this one we were.
This open is like the best open ever.
This was so cool. Like walk through the whole shop. Our shop looks totally different now because we changed all this. All the organization outside the shop is all different now, but there you go, right outside, boom.
And we're going to show you that you can build an engine correctly no matter where you build it. And there's the engine right there. In Frankie's sweet truck.
Classic.
That thing was a box.
It was, but wasn't. The body was. It's a northern truck kind of. It was 01 Cummins, 6-speed, sport package, so it had color match bumper and grill. It's a nice truck.
Look at him.
But it had a lot of rust. Here's the real gem.
This is back when Frankie had to show his ID to buy candy cigarettes.
That's true.
350 TBI small block.
This was an engine we found on the marketplace or whatever.
On the interwebs.
On the interwebs for $500.
500 bones.
500 bucks, and we got a cam kit with it. It was like a super steal, even for back then. This is a couple years ago. They've gone up since then, but.
This is a flat tap,
Yeah,
which
up until about 95, they still, in the trucks for some reason, I don't know if they just had old stock or what.
right here, this is like
But
8 in the morning, and it's already like 95 degrees out.
Yeah, we started at 6, but that open shot took a long time to shoot. It looks cool, and it took, I don't know, it took over an hour to shoot that, just to figure everything out and stuff. But we got there early before the sun was up, but it just took a while to get everything set up.
Schmutz in it, but
supposedly it ran, so I don't think it's going to be.
if you look at this engine, this is typical that you get out of a salvage yard.
We're not doing any crazy performance build. We're not out here.
Like we said, we're not doing anything crazy to this engine. It just has to run, right? And as long as you have all the parts, it's not hard to make it run.
Yeah, and this one we lucked out because it was actually a reman engine. Once we got some of the grease off and stuff, you could see like the tags on the heads and things like that. And eventually, once we got it apart, we also had like undersized bearings in it. So that kind of stuff. You see one tag right there. So this is a reman engine that someone had ran for a while. So it was a little bit cleaner than maybe what you would normally find, but that was good for us.
Here was our first problem. Like the first 12 seconds into it, busts this thing off.
He's like, I'm gonna take this out, and it was like, chink. I'm like, oh, there we go.
Now, because I've been doing this for the better part of 3.5 decades, you get used to dealing with things like this.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look how much fun you're having.
Yeah. This was early in the day. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. A couple of the oil shrouders are broken. I actually saw that.
I'm still trying to figure out what an oil shrouder is.
I made up that word. It was really fun.
All the rockers look good. It's very tempting to just zip it apart, but since we're going to reuse a bunch of stuff on this, now is the time to catch it.
Yeah.
If something's goofed up.
That's true. We were trying to reuse as much as we could. So as things came apart, we were looking at them really closely, especially because we were planning on doing this all in one day in the parking lot, and eventually we successfully did that. But we were like, it was one of those things where it's kind of like you could absolutely run into something that could totally kill that plan, you know, when you're tearing it down. So we were really being careful and checking everything like that when it was coming apart, and luckily didn't find anything crazy. So we were able
just
to do
some
that.
water and some oil and some oil water.
This thing's been sitting
I
out
don't
in
see
the
any
rain.
chunks though.
Yeah, it was like one head
So
was off
far,
of it.
our
and
build
all
out in the
kinds of
wilderness
stuff.
is going pretty well. Now, we've partnered with AutoZone on this setup to not only get the parts that we need to get it back.
Kind of looks like the wilderness.
It kind of does. It's in our parking lot, but in this time of year, it gets like super overgrown and there's critters and all kinds of stuff.
You can go to your local AutoZone and get one for free and use it and then return it to them. We're going to get our dampener off with this setup.
I think we still have that. I don't think we returned it. I think we just kept it and paid for it. It
We actually kept that.
was actually a nice kit, so I think we ended up just keeping it and didn't get our money back.
Having the right tool makes it faster and easier to get the job done right.
Very true.
Even with limited tools, you can still build an engine the right way. We'll show you how.
Indeed.
We're mixing it up today, leaving our well-equipped, air-conditioned shop to build a complete small block Chevy with common hand tools, much like you or we would do at home.
This is the right way, but you know, it works this way too because on this thing, I forgot about that. He used them backwards one time. We got hundreds of comments on it, so we just did it for fun.
That's why I said that's very sassy of you.
Yeah. One piece oil pan gasket.
That's not too bad.
That's not
sludgy.
total milkshake. It's kind of dirty.
Yeah. No matter how well you plan your project, it seems like there's always one or two things you need to pick up after you get started.
Shameless plug in there.
AutoZone makes it easy with the AutoZone.
But we did actually order stuff through the
You can even order online for same
Ah,
day.
no, this is
the
important stuff.
fanciest AutoZone ever, right by
I
us.
highly recommend if you
Yeah.
come to Franklin, go to the AutoZone in Franklin,
Yeah,
Tennessee.
it's very nice. Some of the rusty water out.
Oh, this is a horrible job. That's what cardboard's for.
Yep. Before removing all of the rod and piston assemblies,
enough.
we'll number the rods and caps to make sure they go back in the right spot. We don't have our dedicated number stamps
Yep.
with us, but a sharp punch does the job just fine.
No, I'm not flipping somebody
You're
off.
waving
there.
at the neighbors or something. Yeah.
Someone's waving randomly.
We're doing this in like a really nice industrial park, like in our parking lot, but we're in a nice industrial park, has a bunch of businesses and stuff, and we're out there rebuilding an engine like we're in our driveway.
Oh, I know who.
It was you. I mean, I don't think the humidity is actually 100%.
I think the humidity was worse this morning. I feel like some of it burned
This is
off.
like 9:30 at this point.
It's like almost wintertime.
And this, we inappropriately chose the hottest day of the year to do this on.
It shows us actually.
Yeah, it shows us. It was just under 100 degrees with like 60 or 70% humidity, and the blacktop temp was like 125 degrees. It was
Nasty.
very dumb, but it was fun. Better than doing it in the winter.
A quick tip: use rubber hose on each rod bolt to stop them Good from tip. scratching
That's a
the
good
crank
tip
journal.
if you don't have the dedicated rod bolt boots.
We're going past a little.
There you
We're
go.
going past
Yeah.
a little bit of carbon built up.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Had a little bit of a ridge at the top of the cylinder too, but not enough to hurt anything.
Yeah, they still move, which is good.
Keep in mind, we're obviously making sure that everything comes apart nice, and you're.
Broken off.
It's very, very tempting to just throw away everything when you're doing all this, but whether it's bad or not bad, you save it.
Not even that.
Yeah. We keep all the parts until a
Yeah.
project is done. Like boxes,
I don't
new
care what it
parts,
is.
old parts, boxes, whatever. We hold on to everything until the project is actually completed and done and everything's done with it. Then we'll go through and throw away what we don't want to keep. But yeah, a lot of times people prematurely like throw a box away or an old part away, thinking they won't need it, and then you need like one small part that was in it or on it or something, and then you got to buy it. And that sucks. Those look really good though. That reman.
Now, the long, arduous process of cleaning our parts by hand begins, starting with these crusty.
Foam cleaner. It's very satisfying.
I can tell.
Yeah.
While Frankie gets filthy,
We did our best to clean like everything as good as we could in a parking lot with a bunch of stuff.
Right. Like this rig right here, we get a lot of questions on this. if the bore is straight, this is a very, very good way of reestablishing a place where the rings can actually seat, right? So.
Yeah, and we've done this on not just like, you know, refreshes like this, but like high performance builds where the bore is straight. It is obviously still within our spec for size and everything, and we basically just need to reestablish crosshatch and surface finish. So we'll do it, and we'll profilometer it after and verify the finish is right. But you can get that with a ball hone as well.
100%.
This is really important too. Cleaning everything as good as you can, brushes through the engine. You can get a brush kit for like not that much money. They don't go bad, totally worth it. Soap and water, get out there, hand scrub it. Every engine we do is hand cleaned like this.
We'll use compressed air to get our block dried off in a snap.
Yeah.
After all the hours
Ooh, I
we
remember
spent
that.
scraping and scrubbing this engine, ready? We hope it starts.
Ooh, I think we faked that for the tees. That was fun.
We did what we could
I
to
remember
clean
that.
the cylinder heads, scraping carbon deposits off the valves, then lapping the valves to the seats with some fine lapping.
This is as crappy as a job as it looks, cleaning this stuff without any sort of real cleaning apparatuses.
Yeah, that the drill and the wire wheel in it is like the coolest we got out there was having that. And it was so hot that the hose laying on the parking lot, letting it sit there for a while, it got really hot. So it was like having a hot jet washer that you could spray everything off with.
And blow it off with 20-volt, 20-amp GFCI outlets, one 30-amp 120.
It's a little extravagant right here, but
It's very handy though.
it was super handy. Plus, we're on the parking lot, right?
Yeah, but big thing was having compressed air to dry stuff. That way you don't have to let it air dry and potentially rust. If you can blow it off really quick, you can get all the moisture off of it before it starts trying to rust on the surface. So if you don't even need like a big air compressor, something like this, it's fine, perfect for running blowguns and just getting all that moisture off quickly before it can flash rust. We decided to run a generator because it was far enough from the building. It's like, instead of running a cord, just run a generator.
Since we're reusing the pistons, they need a thorough
Listen up,
cleaning
this is
to
good.
remove the built-up carbon. A scuff pad, some degreaser, and a lot of patience is all it takes.
Degreaser, you can use whatever, you know, oven cleaner, industrial degreaser, whatever.
Gently run one of the old piston rings in the ring groove.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right here.
Yeah.
Okay, this is very important. Cleaning ring grooves. We get a lot of questions sometimes on reusing pistons on this particular one. As you see, we are reusing an old ring. Now, there are specific tools that you can buy. It's literally a ring groove cleaner that has basically a cutter in it that you put on the top of the piston and run it around. The problem with that is a lot of times it removes a lot of the ring groove itself, and you don't want that. That's the ring grooves seal in a piston is as important as the rings seal on the face of the cylinder. So you can't get all big with this because you can actually do more harm than good. So cleaning it with a ring, you're not going to usually get anything that's a lot of material coming off. You're just going to clean off the carbon that's in it. So.
Yeah, the tolerance between like the top of the ring and the groove in the piston is really tight. But as long as you don't get like real big on it and start like really gouging into it.
If you see aluminum coming off it, that's bad.
You're doing it too hard. Like you're just kind of running it through, just like scraping it through a little bit, just getting some of that carbon out. You can also, like I said, we got as much out as we could with brushes first, and then kind of went through and just got whatever was left. But this, if you do it right, will keep it. You can keep yourself out of trouble, and it's kind of a cheap and easy way to clean it.
The magic of shooting it like this is it looks like it didn't take any time at all. This actually took quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
So.
Like an hour at least,
like an
just
hour.
for the pistons.
Yeah,
You know.
it's-
Cleaning is always the part. Cleaning and prep's always obviously the part that takes the most amount when in engine building. And all tools do, better tools, is make that go faster and more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
So when you can do it by hand, it just takes longer, and that's kind of what
Yeah.
the whole theme of this was.
Yeah, we're trying to, our idea is you want to do it right, but there are things that you have to make concessions on when you are literally building it outside, like we are.
It's important to take it easy, or you can accidentally remove aluminum from the piston.
The heads receive a fresh set of valve seals and new valve springs, which
So
are
it took a couple of hours to clean these heads.
Yep, get them all cleaned up, and then basically we're just using the springs that came with the kit, and nice manual spring compressor right on the tailgate.
At this point, these pistons are almost too hot to touch.
Yeah, and the water is like 120 degrees. That's why I was like, whew, because it's coming out like a hot jet washer. but they look good.
AutoZone on all the parts to get our project back together. The parts on this are actually very, very simple, very straightforward. So
Yeah. Few performance parts mixed in, mostly just gaskets, you know, like rings and gaskets and bearings are the main ones, obviously. And then a few performance parts just to make it easier a little bit.
Is to get our crankshaft in and measured up. Now, you usually see us measure it with precision gauging, but we have some precision gauging of a different kind. This is plastic gauge, also offered at AutoZone. It's a great way to check clearances on your mains and rods without anything like a dial bore gauge.
It's way better than not checking it.
Yeah, that is for sure.
Oil clearance, so
And you can get pretty close with it. I mean, obviously a actual dial bore gauge is going to be a lot more accurate, but you can get pretty close with plastic gauge if it's done correctly and you're careful with it.
and we show how to do it correctly and carefully right here.
Yeah.
Now, as long as you don't turn anything, it won't mark up the bearings and everything will still look good.
Yep.
Okay, put that little piece of wax on there. Get her set in place.
Gently tap it down.
Give her the old torque to spec. And carefully remove the cap. Now that the plastic gauge is
There you go.
compressed from torquing, we can compare the new width of that little green piece to our gauging. Looks like we are right at 2 thousandths clearance. Glorious.
Perfect for something like this. If you check all of them, when you put the crank in and check the thrust, when you put the crank in, it will spin. It won't, there's no like put it in, it's like, oh, maybe let's see if it still spins. Like, it's gonna spin. If everything is checked and everything is right, it will be good.
You notice how we don't spin it with any of the caps on it either, so you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that the crank is in and torqued before you actually spin it.
Yep.
One of the nicest parts that came with the engine was a hydraulic
Yeah.
roller. This was kind of exorbitant, but
Came with the engine.
It came with it, so
Normally, it would cost you like, I don't know, 800 bucks probably back then. I don't know what it is now, but 800 bucks when we shot this, but we got it with the engine, so it was like, how, we're not gonna not put it in,
right.
you know?
And we don't have to worry about flat tap at break-in. We don't have to worry about any of that. It was a hydraulical roller. It's time to check gap on our rings. Now, these are a pre-gap set. These are a replacement ring for our size piston, but that doesn't mean that you should not check it for minimum end gap. And what we're going to do is stick these in the bores. Don't ever assume just because you bought it for the application. Don't ever just assume it's right and never check it and put it in. That goes for pretty much anything in an engine.
All engine building is checking pretty much everything, measuring, and making sure that you're eliminating variables so that when you go to actually put it together or start it up, everything's right.
With the crown down, and it's going to square the ring up.
Yep. Classic old school trick.
Lots of good old tech.
Yep.
So yeah, we have 18 thousandths, and that's more than enough. Yeah. What you want is a minimum amount of gap. You can have more, but you have to have a minimum in case the thing gets hot. We don't want to butt the rings and cause damage to the piston or the cylinder, so we are good to go.
Yeah. For the power level this thing's at, that's exactly right. If you go up, obviously that changes.
The more power, the more gap you need.
Yep. Use a ring expander. Don't try to do it by hand.
You're going to bust something.
You're going to bust one, and then you're going to be one ring short and have to go find one somewhere. So just use a ring expander. They're real cheap, great insurance.
Tools, you can degree a cam.
Yep.
This degree wheel runs about 20 bucks and is well worth having. Again, I know that's kind of goofy, it seems, if we're doing something like this, but that's just one of the compromises we are not willing to make. Is we make sure that we know where the intake center line is, where the cam is in any engine that we build, any engine.
And you like the stuff to do it. Like you saw, you don't need like really fancy stuff. You can do it with a piece of wire, a degree wheel, and a dial indicator with a magnetic base. That's all you need, and you can use that for almost any engine. Like it will, it's the same for any engine. So that stuff will last you a lifetime. And so there's really like, even if you're doing something at this level, there's no point to not checking it. You should check it just to make sure that it is correct.
Or here's where it just swung past the peak temperature outside, where it was right somewhere around about 1,000 degrees. Was it hot?
Came with a kit, but easy to install. You could do it differently. If you had to buy stuff, you could try and rig together like a stock roller setup.
Everything you need for the top end.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And again,
Replacement gaskets. New bolts, though.
Yeah.
I will say new bolts. That was a just in casers. Like
normally does it.
The Ninjas?
Oh, the Ninjas.
The Midnight Ninjas? Yeah.
That is kind of a common thing. People think that, you know, me and Superstar here, we're in our trailers, you know, drinking smoothies. When it's time to deliver our lines, they're like, Mr. Foreman, it's time to deliver your stand-up, and then he comes and does it, and then goes back in, and then 20 people come finish everything. So I assure you, we do all the work.
65 pound-feet.
We do.
80%, like we said before, 80% of it is done off camera.
Building an engine outside doesn't mean it can't look good.
This is my favorite part.
Classic GM blue.
How's it going back there?
I'm almost done. I'm gonna have to go get another piece.
Masterful cell phone shooting.
Yeah. But hey, why not? Everything was nice and clean, so give it a little spray job, you know. Just use the rockers that were on it. They all looked good, so we were just able to use those with the push rods. We checked that and everything.
The kit came with new push rods.
Yeah, so we were able to use those, and they were the right length, everything. So we basically were able to put all that stuff back on. And the heads were in good shape. I think we talked about the heads were in good shape. So they were all reman stuff. Had very low run time, just kind of dirty.
TBI intake. We'll use an old school Wyand Street Warrior.
I get it.
Did that so we could put a carburetor on it and make it nice and easy.
We didn't have an intake for it. We had to go get one.
Balancer installer we borrowed from AutoZone's Lona tool service is used again to crank down the balance.
I know people.
Use an
It's
installer.
very tempting to beat it on with a piece of wood and a hammer, or draw it on. You know, just don't do that.
Yeah, don't try and heat it up. Just
Don't heat it up.
Use an installer. And always prime your engines. You can use a distributor and cut the top off of it and make a priming tool out of it, and put a mechanical gauge on it, turn the pump over a bunch, and just make sure you have the correct amount of pressure, and that'll let you know if anything's leaking, let you know that in case you like missed a plug or something before you put it inside your vehicle, if it has low pressure, you know, you can find that problem. Then when it's nice and easy, before you got it all like rigged up with accessories and transmission on it and all kinds of crazy stuff like that.
To light this small block. A Street Demon 650 provides the fuel. We've used this
Ready to run distributor, nice easy carb.
We had a carb that we know
startup.
works.
Yep, perfect for startup.
Now here's where it gets dicey. Okay, let's stop right here. Okay, so now typically this is something like we said we want to test it. You can say when you build something, say, oh, you know, this is going to be great. It's going to make it. It's going to run. You don't know until you actually do it. So we determined like we're going to run this in the parking lot. Now this part, we're in kind of a really nice neighborhood around here, right? Yeah. And at this point, it's right between 10 and 10:30 p.m., right? So when we were debating how long we were going to run it, and we didn't have any real doubts that it would run, but here we were discussing like we're going to light this thing and then we're going to get it shut off, because if you see, it has tractor pull headers on it.
Yeah, and no water. I mean, this is just something kind of like a confirmation for us, and also it's just like you put this thing together, you want to hear it, you know. So yeah, we just decided we're going to throw these crazy headers on it because they'll click. You know, if we had like a regular header, I think we tried a set and it wouldn't hit. They were hitting the ground.
Hit the ground.
So it was like tractor pull headers, and then hook power to it. We had a little electric fuel pump like that for a carburetor, and
it's very tempting. A lot of people that we saw on the interwebs, they won't put anything on it because they like to see that blue fire coming out of the exhaust port. Yeah. Please don't do that.
Those from the guys down in Carcass.
I knew we'd get use out of them one day. With our MacGyvered electrical and fuel delivery setup,
we got those cool shop lights for like $40.
We're ready to see if this thing
they work
runs.
real good.
This is great. Okay, right here, you know, Frankie's got to see that big pile of that big puddle by the fuel pump.
Don't worry about that.
Frankie's like working with electricity and stuff.
It's like holding wires on. I was holding wires like, okay, if you yell, I'm gonna pull the ignition wire off so it stops running. But I was like hooking wires up, and there's a slight puddle of gas from our fuel jet.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you do, right?
It was fine.
Here we go.
And starter.
Oh yeah, it's gonna run.
All right, ready?
Give it a little pump shot. Yeah.
We aerometered the timing. Look at that. Right now, like, yeah, rev it up, dummy. It's 10:40 at night in a residential neighborhood in
Instead of
Franklin,
open
Tennessee.
headers, yeah.
Smart. That's a win right there.
Dang. That's pretty cool.
High five.
That might be probably one of the.
We did have a fire extinguisher, see? Look.
What did you miss most about being in a shop, though?
Probably the nice cleaning equipment, because
Yep.
I mean, pretty much what I have to do at home is what we did here. We're just cleaning stuff in the driveway or in the parking lot and, you know, hand scrubbing everything. I think that ate up a lot of time on this one, but
This went together as clean and checked as well with stuff that we had as anything that was ever built inside. So
oh yeah, it got the same amount of attention as any other engine we build, so I think that's key.
Checked bearing clearances.
Yep.
It was clean. The block was clean. I spent 2 hours cleaning the block,
Yeah.
which would normally take 45 minutes in jet washer. We'd like to thank AutoZone for helping us get this thing together. They were a great partner on this build. Now I think it is time. I don't even know what time it is.
It's time for food is what it is.
It's time for food. All I know is
The pizza was like 6 hours
The
earlier.
pizza had burned through 6 hours ago.
we have a running engine
Yeah.
done in the parking lot. So
Heck yeah, that's a win.
let's go.
But
For more information,
it doesn't
There's
end
more.
here.
But wait,
there is
there's
more on this. And the best part about this, so our question was on this, well, what happened with that engine? That engine, you just got it fired up,
Yeah.
and you know that was the end of it.
And
No.
also, everybody they're like, what did it make?
What did it make?
What would that engine make with that cam and the stock heads and stuff? So
what we did is what we did right here.
yeah, so we brought it in and downed it literally like, I don't know, 2 days later, not even.
Yeah, no, we have to stay pretty fluid. You know, we have a lot of stuff going on here, so we have lots of projects, but it actually worked out where we had this thing, we could get it on the dyno and get it ran in, and it worked out well.
Yeah, it worked real good. And we basically didn't change anything.
We
pulled
actually
it,
didn't touch
we pulled,
anything.
Pulled it right off that little cradle, put it on a dyno cart, and then we put it in the dyno and dynoed it, and that was we didn't even
touch it with the timing line.
Yeah, just literally, it's like whatever it was is what we'll see what it does. Whatever I just said.
See what it do.
See what it do.
Here it is. Look at him.
It's still
Is this your first dyno run?
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
No, I'm really not, because it's been so long.
dream.
I'm pretty sure it was definitely not it might have been my first on-camera dyno.
I think it was your first on-camera dynoing.
Maybe.
No, I don't think you do either.
Neither do I.
Truth.
I think we set it by ear in the parking lot, and it's still there.
If
so.
it starts like that, you know it's not. It's in a realm of
Yeah.
decent because it wouldn't start like that. If it was late, it would backfire out. If it was early,
Yeah.
it would lug and kick back. So it didn't do either one of those.
And we
so.
usually lock out distributors when we're dynoing stuff. We just lock out the timing. So if it starts nice and easy, the timing's going to be at least close, and it's not going to be over advanced. You know, it's not going to be over advanced at wide open throttle.
on me.
Absolutely.
Knew it. When you said, "Here, you can sit in this chair," I was like, "There's something going on
I'm
here."
just gonna be back here like
man.
this.
Yeah.
If it spits a crank out, it's not my fault.
Yeah. That's what, on EFI engines, it's always fun because it's either I'm running the computer or I'm running the dyno. But either way, if it blows up, it's going to be on me, I'm sure.
Check this out. Listen how this thing runs. I cannot wait to see what the timing is.
The craziest part was getting the horns on the tractor pull headers to get the exhaust out of the room.
See how it's already trailing down?
Yep, already starting to go off a little bit. Not
That's
diving,
cool.
but just
That is
starting
so
to go
cool.
off. So, yeah.
345.
218 at 50 cam with a set of headers and stock heads and a decent intake and carb. Solid. I mean,
It's a
little hot rod
It's
engine.
a low compression.
Yeah.
It'll run forever, and that's pretty spicy actually.
had great oil pressure too. It's like perfect oil pressure the whole time.
Yeah, for a parking lot engine, I mean, over 325 pretty much everywhere. 325 pound-feet. That's good.
You know what was really cool about this one is we didn't have to do a lot of stuff to it as far as like the distributor, right? You hook 2 wires.
You can tell this is like a few days after because we still have all the red from sunburn. It was-
Yeah, still. I still felt nauseous from all that, from heat exhaustion.
And a coil, and that was it.
I gotta go shoot the timing just to see what it is. By pure luck, timing comes in at 34 degrees. That is just about
legit
dead center
right
in a good
Yeah.
range for this engine. I mean,
Let's make
it could have been
another
anything. That was just literally just plain lucky. Our oil pressure gauge is still attached to the front of it.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Mechanical verification right there is what that is.
Just gonna print that same number. It ran
It's
off.
just super smooth.
Which it should. Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, I mean,
273.6.
What more do you want, you know?
45 and a half.
I mean, that's,
Torque's nice.
yeah, good power, good oil pressure, runs great.
Nice engine.
That's it. What else do you need, you know, for a stock-headed small block Chevy and stuff?
Visit PowerNationTV.com.
I think we should do another one of those at some point.
We could do it on like a 302 or maybe like a big block or something. I don't know, you know. And that's the good thing about this is that, and we say this about all of engine building because we've said this several times, is that it's all the same. Whether it's a small block Chevy, a big block Ford, a big block Chevy, a lawnmower engine or whatever.
Doesn't matter.
This whole process is the exact same no matter what you're working on. So like this whole thing took us, it was literally from, I think it was, we actually started working like on the stuff at like 6 or something like that, 6:30 maybe in the morning, and we finished it up at like 10:30 at night is when we started it. So we got all that done basically in the span of one day, and say if you could do this, is something you could totally do in a weekend.
Right.
You know, absolutely.
Because we shot it for content like this, it took a little bit longer. If we were just nose to the grindstone, we could have got it done maybe a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But the cleaning still takes the same amount of time. All the setting up, the cam degreeing, the actual, all the clearance checking, the things that we would just normally do anyway, they take the same amount of time. And again, this engine received the same attention to detail as anything else that we've done. As good as we could do it in the situation that we had, which was very fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think total all in, it was definitely under $1,500 for sure.
It was cheapo.
Because we got the cam kit with the engine.
The most expensive thing on this thing was that silly cam.
Yeah,
So,
and that was, we got that with it, so we didn't pay for that. That was a score.
That was a score, so.
But you could, again, there's a lot of stuff that you could, like, I mean, carb, cam kit, all that kind of stuff. You could totally have found that on the internet, like find a lightly used one or unused that someone's just, had bought and didn't return or whatever. You can nickel and dime and get that kind of stuff and do it probably cheaper or just as cheap, no problem.
Yep.
And then, I mean, once this thing was done, we actually ended up using this engine for a whole nother project. This became our compression obsession engine, which was over 13-to-1 on pump gas, and then it was a Rowdy 360 that made like 590.
Yeah, it made like 590. Yep.
So that's the cool thing about, like, even when we do stuff like this, like, we could leave it alone, but usually our engines evolve into a completely different project, and we use them over and over and over again until we can.
Yeah, if it's not literally destined for a vehicle, there are engines, we keep them in inventory, and we have to do some cool stuff. We love pulling stuff out and doing content because it's about education, right?
Yeah.
It's showing you guys how to do engines from very, very basic stuff to basically any level that you'd like, right? And we again, you treat them all the same. The only thing that's different is the parts and the budget.
Yeah, that is true. So
all right, well, now
I think we have some comments.
Comments.
And,
let me get my comments
grab
sheet
your
out.
comments there.
Put my
All right.
eyeballs on here.
Let's see, we got some comments here. This was like, this video I think dropped on the Power Nation channel like 3 years ago, so there's a decent number of comments.
Yeah, this is well received.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, it was, yeah.
Let's read some of these.
First one, Pat gets a little cranky when he doesn't have his pocket protector. Follow-up comment was, get it? Cranky. I don't actually get it, but we didn't have our pocket stuff because we were just t-shirt, man. We were just like all natural, weekend warrior, however you want to describe it. We were just how we would do it at home, basically.
Like I said, I feel like I'm unarmed when that stuff happens, right? In a shop, everything in the pocket protector that everyone thinks is all pens, I got news for you, it's not. But I have things that are always critical from a scale, center punch, and things like that, and magnet and scribe. That's stuff we all use.
Yeah.
We're not going to be doing any of that stuff out in the wild, right? So we're just going on there and we're winging it with what we have. Which again, it's nice to have everything that you need, but not necessary in this point. At this point. Now it's time to hook it up to the dyno. Let's see what kind of numbers that 600 horsepower 3/4 race cam Corvette roller motor can pull. Very nice. This was an awesome episode. It looked like many of my builds, but you cheated by having a tent and asphalt. The next episode is a transmission swap in a gravel driveway, right? Okay, yeah, we understand. Everyone's like, well, it wasn't you had a tent and asphalt. Yeah, I know. I mean,
There wasn't 6 inches of snow on the ground.
I can tell you how I've changed water pumps at 10 below zero. I have put transmissions and rear ends and things in literally the grass and dirt. This time, if we were going to lay on the asphalt, it'd be like frying 2 eggs
Yeah.
on the pavement. So, but yeah, it's cheating. Yeah, but it's we achieve the same result.
Everybody's done janky stuff. You want to do more janky stuff than us? Go ahead. That's cool. This is just fun.
This was supposed to be fun.
Basically just stuff. This is how we do it at home. We don't really have. I have a garage. He doesn't have anything. So
I actually don't have a garage,
This
so
is how
I
we just
literally
do it,
still
yeah.
work on my stuff in the grass and dirt.
yeah, my garage is full of junk. So half the time it's working on.
If I got to work
in the
on a
gravel,
garage,
but-
I got to go over to his house.
Yeah, I offer it all the time. He never brings his stuff over. Don't know why. All right, on the back. This was one of my favorite episodes. Love the satire and real world feel. I really like when they show the building and the camera crew. Any closer to real life and a few buddies would have been over with beers in hand. Cheers, guys.
Good comment.
We were definitely looking for some beers, but obviously television, YouTube, we're not going to be drinking beers on
I didn't
camera,
drink
so.
anything before I met Frankie.
Yeah, straight as an arrow. Then he met me.
All right.
Go ahead.
Lovely Day says, and it's a quote, "We are going to build an engine out in the great outdoors with common hand tools. Uses engine hoist, engine crane, generator, air compressor, micrometer, harmonic balancer remover, ball hone, outdoor lights, ring expander. Basically, no common hand tools." Well, we'll give you that, right? Because we did have some things. Anybody who typically works on this stuff is going to have probably 80% of what I just read off, right?
Yeah, I would consider that, I mean, I guess not technically hand tools, but I would consider that common tools. Like this
Yeah.
is all stuff that you could go get, and like half this stuff you could get for, I mean, even like the big stuff you can get for under $200 or $300 for sure. If you do some hunting around, hit the online, hit the marketplace, hit the auctions or whatever, you could totally get all this stuff for pretty cheap. And again, tools are an investment. I always
Right.
say, like, if I have to borrow something more than twice, I am just going to buy it because I'm going to use it. It's going to last me the rest of my life. It's not going to go bad. So I'm just going to buy it and just have it,
If you're one-off and stuff, yeah, you're probably not going to have most of this. But if you do this, as most hobbyists, who are into doing stuff like this, you're just going to acquire this stuff. And
Yeah.
to make things go a little bit smoother, we absolutely had this stuff. I mean, next time maybe we'll do a whole engine with a pair of channel locks and a hammer.
And a rock.
And
We're not even going
rock.
to hammer, just
we're
a rock.
not even going to use
yeah.
that. No,
And
we're
even-
not doing that.
And even if you don't have this stuff, you probably have a buddy that you can borrow
Yeah.
it from for one time. or
Bribe
so.
them with some sort of food or
drink.
beverages.
Yeah. Love that you show you don't need $1 million equipment to be effective, just clean and simple, know-how, and attention to detail is what counts the most. Absolutely. If you don't have that basic stuff, then all the extra special equipment doesn't matter because it's not going to work. It's not going to be worth anything if you don't have attention to detail,
Right.
cleanliness, organization, all that kind of stuff.
You do the best that you can with the resources you have.
Yep.
Bottom line. Good comment. I'm loving the Pat and Frankie dynamic, master and apprentice. I am not an apprentice. I've been doing this a long time.
That's true.
I'm doing my best though.
It's true. This was a fantastic idea, so much better than watching crate engines dropped in Mustangs over and over. The parking lot approach forced these guys to return to their roots, and in the process, the rest of us learned quite a bit. This is much more applicable to most of our builds and so much more useful. Thanks, and hope you follow this approach more often inside, in quotes. So, yeah, we agree. This was supposed to be super relatable and show you guys how you can do it, give you the confidence to maybe tackle an engine project if you've never done it before or whatever. So we absolutely agree, and we try to do some budgety stuff here and there as much as we can. And so keep an eye out. We got more stuff coming out soon. We're working on new stuff all the time. So keep an eye out. We got budgety stuff. Like I said, we do a little bit of everything. We try to mix it all in. So at some point, there's going to be more super budget-friendly stuff.
We like doing it for
Yep.
sure. Rumor has it a nearby Waffle House was visited by a couple of ravenous engine builders at the end of this episode. I mean, that is actually the truth, right?
I love Waffle House.
Yeah. So the whole building loves Waffle House. So Waffle House, call us.
Yes. If you want to, I don't know, maybe collab on some
Yeah,
stuff,
man. Let's
do
do
stuff.
some collabs.
Hit us up, Waffle House. That's like my family restaurant. That's where we go. All right.
Back in the day when Frankie was back in the day, which is like 2019.
Yeah, back in 2015 when I was 15, hit up the Waffle Houses all the time. All right, George Grierson. What? No engine building ninjas? Ah, my little grasshopper. ... Oh, I get. Oh, okay. Because I got it. Thanks, guys, for doing it like that. True shade tent mechanics. Yep. I think the tent was probably the most critical part of that whole
It was, you know, like I say, yeah,
the shade was really helpful.
I'm originally from northern Michigan, and I don't handle heat worth a damn, right? So I'd rather have it 0 outside than 80 degrees, right? So it was hot. It was actually the hottest day for that year in Tennessee.
Yeah, it was. That year it was the hottest day, and as you could tell by watching the dyno session, we hadn't been outside a lot that year because we mostly work inside in a room with no windows, so we were getting sunburned real bad.
Yeah, it's like we work in a submarine.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's 2 a.m. or 2 p.m.
Yep, doesn't matter.
Not always about what you use to do it, but how you do it. Reminds me of replacing rod bearings in the engine still in the car laying on my back. Oh yeah, that's we're right there with you. You know, doing this for a long time, you sometimes tend to do things that are unconventional, right? I have put cam bearings in a Jeep Cherokee with the 6-cylinder block actually still in the damn Jeep itself. So we've rolled bearings in, we've rolled in rear main seals, we've done lots of stuff like that. It's just part of it. You'd rather have a controlled environment, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So man, we're right there with you on doing some stuff like that. So.
Yep. Next one, I didn't see one hold my cold snack moment. Backyard, I love it. Do this some more. Yeah, again, not a lot of alcoholic beverages on the show, obviously, but it was a lot of fun, and that probably would have been a great addition.
Now we try to do things as conscientious, and even though it's a backyard build, you try to do your best. So there wasn't any like, oh my God, we're going to use a torch with no goggles on or something like that, which that's sometimes
we do that off camera.
Yeah, that's off camera stuff. No, we would never do that.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Some of my best engine overhauls were done outside. My best rebuilds were done in a kitchen. Hey, that's what I can tell you that
better than outside.
If you have a dishwasher, that is like a mini hot tank, right? Just if your significant other is not around, that's probably the best time to do it, because I'm not saying that they would approve. Maybe they would. I don't know.
Yeah.
It depends on who you're with. But
rumor has it the school that I went to, the dorms don't have dishwashers anymore because too many guys were cleaning car parts in them.
I understand. People like at the apartment complex where I was, people would port cylinder heads in their bathtub.
Yep.
And that is bad.
The more I watch you two, the more you crack me up. Great team. Well, glad you guys enjoy it. Glad you're having fun. We're pretty much always having fun. If we're building engines, we're having fun. So we're glad you guys are enjoying it too.
This is what we like doing.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Def not Pat T.
I think we all know who that is.
Wow, look how Pat was mentoring that young student. Such grace and dignity. He deserves a promotion.
Wonder who wrote that.
I mean, says definitely not Pat.
Maybe it was me. You never know. Could be anybody. Could be anybody.
Student, assistant.
Assistant.
He's not my assistant.
Well,
all right.
That's all the comments we have, at least. But
final thoughts. Are there things you would do differently? I mean, yeah.
Pick a different time of year.
Yeah. pick a time when it's not hot as hell outside, of course.
Here,
but
let's put it this way: best time to build your engine, probably springtime. Nice weather, raining a lot, so you're not doing anything outside. If you're in a garage, I should say. If you're in a garage, best time to build, springtime. Raining a lot, so there's low dust, weather's good, and then you'll have it ready for summertime to go cruising.
If you're doing it outside, just make sure you allow enough time to whatever the heck you're doing, you can get it done in a very, very tight time frame, because there's nothing worse from something that's sitting out in the weather.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's okay to do stuff outside, but you're not going to build an engine and say, oh, I'm going to leave the heads off it and it's going to rain on it. That's horrible.
Or even like humid places.
Yeah.
I mean, here it's in the summertime, it can get like 70 to 80% humidity, but like, I mean, even Florida, Georgia, whatever, like it's real humid. You got to really cover it in some kind of rust preventative. But even then, like if you let it sit too long, it can start forming rust. So
I think that Again, we always talk about what we do and the fun things we get to do, and this was actually very, very fun. And I think I'd love to revisit this at some capacity. Now, you gotta say, how could we do it different? We don't know yet, and maybe we would do it off campus here. It's easier because, you know, we know where the bathrooms are, so that's pretty important. So
yeah, well, and we only had to carry our tools like right out to the parking lot.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to figure out something like some kind of the next version of this, the next iteration. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But it was a lot of fun. Probably would pick a different time here for it, but would totally do it again.
Yeah, so thanks for watching.
Yeah.
We had a good time, and we don't know what we're going to watch in our next video. But that's going to happen, and we appreciate everything. Hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell on all this, and we will see you the next time.
Comment below what video you want to see us react to and do commentary on next, and we'll see you next time.
Go build something cool.